All right. If everybody's ready, we shall start. It is 7:01. So John Wall, thank you for serving as the administrator tonight.
Mike, I'm going to mute, and then if you need me, just holler.
All right. Real good. Thank you. This is the Town of Long Beach Advisory Board of Zoning Appeals. This is the regular meeting, Tuesday, April 13th, 2021. It is 7 p.m. It is actually 7:02. And this is a Zoom video conference with no one present in person. So with that, I will state that the Town of Long Beach's zoning code imposes restrictions determined by the town council to be necessary to protect the interests of the community as a whole. The Board of Zoning Appeals is a quasi-judicial body that provides a forum through which property owners can seek relief from the strict requirements of the zoning code or from a decision by certain Long Beach officials charged with enforcing the zoning code. It is the role of the BZA to perform the public function of protecting the public interest while facilitating improvements and investments in a manner that is consistent with the intent of the zoning code. The decisions of the BZA are with respect to the laws and ordinances in place. As a quasi-judicial body, the BZA operates more like a court than a legislative body. So with that, I will thank everybody who has tuned in tonight, both the board members and the petitioners, as well as our audience, which has joined us. And I will turn to our secretary, Meg Collins, and ask her to call the roll.
Sure. Chairman Michael Gorman.
Here.
Board members, Rich Jersich.
Here.
Meg Canier.
Here.
Barb Morgan. You're there. Barb Morgan.
Barbara.
I see her.
You.
Can you unmute Barb?
Oh, there. Sorry.
Perfect.
Here. I'm here.
Thank you.
Doug Wickstrom.
Here.
There are no absent board members. BZA Council Chris Willoughby.
Here.
Secretary Meg Collins, I'm here. Building Commission Representative Joe Jogman.
Here.
That concludes roll.
Thank you. Thank you, Meg. We have a quorum, so we shall proceed. I'm going to do one thing a little different here as we get to the Pledge of Allegiance. You know, we always stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And this is how many times we've done the Zoom call. And every time you stand, all you see is everybody's belt buckles as they stand up and recite the pledge. So in deference to the type of call we're having, let's just please stay seated. And if everyone would please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So maybe we will start a new trend on Zoom calls where no one needs to stand for the pledge. So, okay, we will move on with the agenda. First up is the approval of minutes. The board members all have the March 9th, 2021 regular meeting minutes. I'll call for a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for March.
Mr. Jersich, thank you. Second?
I'll second the motion.
Second by Barbara Morgan. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, I will now call for a vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, those minutes are adopted. There is no old business or no new business that we need to attend to, so we will move right on to our agenda. We have a number of preliminary hearings this evening and one public hearing. First off, our two preliminary hearings. I'm going to address them together. They are both by the same petitioner, Andrew and Maria Smith, 2610 Lakeshore Drive and 2616 Lakeshore Drive. Through our attorney, Chris Willoughby, the petitioners have requested a second continuance for their petitions. They have asked that it be continued from this meeting. So I will entertain a motion to continue both of the Smith petitions.
So moved.
Moved by Doug Wickstrom, second.
I'll
Second.
second.
Second by Meg Canier. Any discussion? Now I have a point I'd like to make here on this continuance. It would be my position here that if we vote to continue these two petitions, they be done under the following condition. Given that this would be the second consecutive continuance, both petitions will be removed from the agenda and they will be held in abeyance until such time as the petitioners file a notice with the BZA that they either intend to proceed or that their preliminary hearings or to withdraw both petitions. Such notice should be filed with the town clerk's office in accordance with the filing deadline 2 weeks prior to the next scheduled meeting. So if you're all in agreement with that condition, I'm hearing nothing further, so I will call for a vote to approve the continuance on that condition. Aye.
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 Everyone in favor? Any opposed? None opposed. So with that, this has been continued. Both petitions, I will ask our secretary, Meg Collins, if you would please send an email to the petitioners of informing them of the continuance with the condition that I've just outlined. Thank you, Meg. That moves us to preliminary hearing, the third one, the listed number C, and that is Bruce and Lisa Miller, 1409 Lakeshore Drive. So just a moment. Okay, this is a developmental standards variance petition requesting a variance from the requirements of section 154-048, maximum building height of buildings concerning building height due to lot access and steepness of the grade, according to the petitioners. Petitioner is seeking to build a new residence on a vacant lot. The preliminary hearing is set to open up at tonight's meeting. So with that, I will turn to the petitioner and give the petitioner an opportunity to state his case, mindful of the fact that we have the materials which you submitted already at this point. So who intends to speak on behalf of the petitioner?
I can speak on behalf of the petitioner. My name is John Spalding of Spalding Design Group.
And you, John, just so your relationship, you are who?
I am the architect for the Millers for this project.
Okay, fine. If you would go ahead and proceed.
So as we've documented on the material that we provided, there is no rear access to this lot, and it's about a 60-foot to 65-foot rise from the street all the way up to the top side of the lot. So what the petitioners are asking is that we can build the house into the hill and exceed the height variance from the street level. We obviously are not going to exceed the height variance from the highest grade of the lot, but we will exceed the height variance from the lowest grade of the lot.
Okay, anything further you want to tell us at this point?
No, I mean that is what we're trying to get accomplished, is to get a variance for the height.
Okay. So with that, I will now turn to the BZA members for any questions or for any pieces of information that they feel we need in order to make a decision. The object of a preliminary hearing is not for the board to render a decision. It is for the board to understand what your petition is requesting. So we have your petition. You've given us an explanation. I'll turn to the board members if anybody would like to ask any questions for clarity purposes of Mr. Spalding. So
Yeah, I have a question for Mr. Spalding. I have your plan. I'm unable to determine what the height is at the street level. That's probably my inability to read your plan, but What height are you asking for at the street level?
77 feet would be the envelope that we're requesting.
Instead of what's our ordinance, 33?
33.
Okay.
Okay, that's it was a little hard to make sure that, Barbara, I agree with you, but I think we've established the petitioner wants to build a building that would have a height of 77 feet. Okay?
Yeah, I see that now. Yeah.
Yeah,
We're just-
but it would be stepped back. It obviously isn't going to be 77 feet at the front building line. The house is going to stair step into the hill as we work our way to the back of the lot.
Okay.
Does that mean that the first layer is less than 77 feet?
Yeah, down at the straight, yeah, it would be.
And then,
Well, mindful, Barbara, no matter what the first or second or third or fourth step is, the
Right.
overall height of the building is 77 feet.
okay.
Anybody else? Barbara, you have anything else? Anybody else have any questions or require any information from the petitioners?
No.
If not, I'll just ask one question. John, has your clients considered any other design for this building than what you presented to us here?
No, this is the desire is to be able to access the house from the front, from the street, because that's the only way we can get to it. And then build into the sand dune to get up to the top. So we've got views to the lake and views out the back.
Okay, yeah, I can understand that. So that's the desire of your client to be at 77 feet for purposes of street access and height. It's an 80. The way I read this, it's an 86-foot lot.
Yeah, 80 foot wide, 150 foot deep.
The site plan, Exhibit A, shows 86 feet.
No, I'm sorry. Yes, it is 86 feet.
86 feet.
That is
Okay.
correct.
And based on, let me see here. Let me see which, okay, based on, give me a moment while okay, here was my other question. Looking at Exhibit A, again, which is the site plan, just so we understand. Along Lakeshore Drive, as you say, it shows an 86 feet frontage with the building taking up the center 40 feet with 23 feet on either side.
Well, yeah, once again, that's going to work itself into the design. We're not looking for a lot coverage variance. We're not going to exceed the allowable 35%, and we're not going to exceed the 6-foot side yard setbacks. So we're going to fit within the required building envelope. All we're asking for is a height variance so that we can build up as we get to the top of this dune is what we're looking for.
Okay, all right, that's good. Anybody, BZA members, any other questions?
Did have, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Meg.
When you listed the addresses for the people that need to receive a notification, they also, the location of their, like it has their home address, but also the lot that they own. For example, your first one was Kevin and Kathy Collins. It says it's LaGrange, Illinois. Are they on Lakeshore Drive? What's their location? Some of them have that because that's their billing address. Does that make sense?
Right. No, it does. We have that documented in the letter that will be going out to them. And there was also, if you look at, you can see this document that was also provided.
Right.
Those numbers correspond with that map. So if you see number 1, that's the lot that is the Collins, Kevin and Kathy Collins.
You okay with that, Meg Canyor?
Sure, that's gonna be, yeah, I'll go through and label them.
Okay, all right, so we're good. Building Commission Representative, Joe, do you have anything you want us to hear?
Well, I'll just say two things. Number one, we haven't had the enjoyment to review this because they never came to the building commission. And number two, and I don't have it right in front of me, but maybe you guys can refresh my memory, isn't there a minimum width of the building? Isn't that an ordinance? I just want to make sure he doesn't go away. And I thought it was larger than 20, but I could be wrong. And I want to make sure if he's going to get a variance. Do you guys know that one? Doug, do you know that one by heart?
No, I'm afraid not.
Well,
I don't either.
Joe, we're not going to be 20 feet wide at the street.
Well, that's what, the only reason I asked that is I was just looking at your diagrams and everything looks like 20 feet wide.
No, it's 40 feet wide is what the envelope currently shows.
Okay. All right, I see it. I'm sorry. Got it.
and for the sake of order, just as I think Mr. Spalding, you already mentioned this, is that were you to receive a variance, any construction is subject to a building permit, and a building permit would require compliance with every other section of the zone.
Oh, absolutely. And the intent here is to understand if we've got the ability to grow to this height that we want to on the back of the lot, because we don't want to spend the time or our clients' money to design something that is just going to get shot down when we bring it to Joe. So we're trying to get an understanding of what that envelope is that we can design a structure inside.
Okay, well, I think you already understand that envelope. The envelope is 33 feet. You understand it very clearly, and that's what you're doing in front of the BZA. You're saying you understand it's 33, and you're asking the BZA to consider a variance.
Well, can I expand on that?
Well, yes.
We got a moment? Well,
Yeah.
So within your height restrictions, when you look at it, I guess the one thing that is not fully understood is that it doesn't state in these examples that you guys have on your website how many stories we can be below if we use the top of the dune. So if we use the top of his lot, we can be as high as 27 feet. And we're not going to exceed 27 feet, but it doesn't say how many basements I can have underneath that 2.5 story structure.
Well, just looking at 154.048, capital A, 1A, that's the top elevation. It says 2.5 stories.
Right.
Yeah. So,
but how do you define a story if we've got, I mean, if you look at this illustration, it's showing 2.5 stories, but yet it shows this other floor below that. So we're trying to get an understanding of, if we're going to be no more than 27 feet from the top of the dune, then are we in compliance?
Mike, I might be able to respond to that.
Go ahead, Doug.
I don't believe there's a limitation to how deep you can go. The ordinance, my understanding of that ordinance is it was developed in response to a request from the volunteer fire department to limit the height of buildings to be within the ability of their organization to respond to fires. And so that is the underlying reason for all of that. If the ordinance is silent on something, then it doesn't restrict it. And the intent was to deal with what was above the surface, is my understanding.
And Mr. Orman, can I add? This is Chris. I just want to point out and remind the BZA and Mr. Spalding, I've been very respectful, so I don't mean to step on toes here, but the purview of the BZA is not to give you advice, and we can't give you advice, and we're teetering on that. And some of what you're asking would probably be addressed at the building commission level. And the BZA is charged with considering what you put in front of them. So to hedge on and hinge on what you're doing and what's available. So those things are probably, we certainly understand your tactic in terms of going to the BZA because you might need variances and you're shooting for the moon, but we can't give advice.
Okay, everybody all set? If that's the case, then I would entertain, I think we have the materials we need. I would entertain a motion, either a motion to set this for a public hearing, or if someone feels there's a need to continue the matter, I'd entertain that motion. So can I have a motion from one of the board members? Hearing no one speak up, I will make the motion to set this matter for a public hearing at the next regular meeting, which is May 11th, 2021. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Rich Jurczyk. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of setting this for public hearing? Aye.
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 Opposed? Barbara, did I hear your vote? Barbara and Meg Canyor.
Yeah. Aye.
Aye and Barbara?
Aye.
Okay, there we go. So all in favor. So this matter is set for public hearing. Mr. Spalding, we will see you or whoever represents your client at our meeting on May 11th. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll move on to the next item. One thing about being in the community center when we used to actually, or even in the boardroom, when we used to actually hold meetings in person, is there was a little more room on the table for some of this stuff. My table is not as big as the table we used at the community center. So bear with me as I shuffle these papers around. Everybody all set? Okay, we will move on to preliminary hearing, which is labeled D, and that is Paul and Julie Walzak, and it is 2028 Silvertip Lane. This is for a developmental standards variance petition requesting a variance from the requirements of section 154-127, residential single non-conforming lot of record in any district. This is concerning lot size requirements. Petitioner is seeking to raise the existing home and build a new residence on a non-conforming lot that is less than 12,000 square feet. Preliminary hearing is set to open at tonight's meeting. So with that, give me one more moment here. And I will turn to the petitioners, the Walzaks, and allow you the opportunity to present to us, mindful again that we do have the materials you submitted. So who is going to speak on behalf of the petitioner?
Understood. Good evening. This is Paul Walzak. I think my wife Julie is on as well.
Okay, good. Thank you.
So I'll summarize. I won't read the entire letter that we sent in, but in summary, we bought this lot 2020 Silvertip in August with the plans of tearing it down and building a new house there. What we learned, of course, is that like all the lots on Silvertip, it's non-conforming. There are no lots that actually conform to 12,000 square feet. So our architect has come up with some preliminary plans. We've done some soil testing and septic system design. So we've gotten pretty far down the path, but before we get to really designing the features of the house. We wanted to make sure that we clear the fact that we can actually build this house so that our architect can go ahead and develop the next set of plans. So that's the reason we're seeking the variance, and I can answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. And once again, I will turn to our BZA members for any questions or information they feel is lacking in the Walzak's petition. So I'll turn to the BZA board members.
Just for clarification, the square footage of the lot, can you give that to us?
Yeah, it's easy. It's 87 by 100, so it's 8,700 square feet.
Thank you.
And for the sake of the record, for those who are taking part in this meeting, lots in, I don't have my paper in front of me. This is zone one?
It's R1, and it's, yeah, 12,000 square feet.
I just want to get that out for the public's digestion in case they are not quite aware of that. R1 lots require 12,000 square feet. You're at 8,700 square feet.
Right.
Okay. The requirements of this, just again for the record here, you're looking for a variance from 154, 127. There are a couple of requirements that you have to meet in that ordinance. Is one, you have to demonstrate that you cannot assemble adjoining lots. Okay, so you've not, I mean, it's all built up around, so there's obviously no other lot.
It is, if I may though, we did bring it up with the town council last night's meeting to inquire about the purchase of the unused courtway behind. There's an unused alleyway behind us. That's an unusual request. I don't know if that's going to be possible. That would give us a little bit more square footage and more importantly, make the puzzle pieces fit a little better to actually build a house. So there are no other lots we can assemble, but we may be able, there's a chance we could purchase that portion of the courtway to increase the lot size a little bit.
So that's the first test which you have to meet. The second one is that the proposed use complies with the requirements of the LaPorte County Health Department. And I think you have indicated you are working with the LaPorte County Health Department.
Correct. We have a plan for a septic system.
Approved plan?
It's nearly approved. We're still working with them, but there's just some final things that they're figuring out.
I guess I would ask our attorney, Chris Willoughby, if the petitioner intends to proceed and we set this for a public hearing, we should have in front of us an approval from the LaPorte County Department of Health. Would that be right, Chris?
Can I jump in? This is Julie Walzak.
Please hold on. Chris, would that be right?
The approval might not be necessary, but there's certainly going to be at minimum a restriction that it would be subject to. So you can put that condition on there.
Okay.
So that would be all right, because no matter what, they're never going to get a building permit if they can't show the certificate from the county.
Okay, so you don't think it's necessary that they present to us some kind of document? Any approval, if it were to be granted, would be subject to this requirement.
Yeah, and we can specifically spell that out as we've done with other types of matters. We could make that a condition of any approval if that were to happen.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Ms. Walzak, did you have something to add?
I was just going to add that the holdup for the approval of the septic is that we have to excavate. And so we want to get through these steps before we would excavate.
Okay, and it sounds like that would work out from what Mr. Willoughby has told us. So, okay, so I don't have any other questions. I think it's, you clearly understand, Mr. and Mrs. Walzak, what the ordinance says, and you understand where you fall short with respect to the ordinance. So, and if none of the other board members have any questions, I will ask for a motion to either set this for a public hearing, or again, if someone feels we need to continue this preliminary hearing, we can entertain that motion. So do I have a motion, please?
I move that we set this for public hearing.
So Ms. Canyers, a motion for a public hearing. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Second by Barbara Morgan. Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote to set this matter for a public hearing at the May 11, 2021 meeting. And all in favor?
Aye.
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 Do I have them all this time?
Yep, I,
Okay, got them all. I'll mention to you, Mr. Walzak, I don't need to do this, but I could have mentioned it also for the prior petitioner. You're approved to proceed to a public hearing. You need to follow the requirements that are laid out in the BZA packet. You need to seek certified registered letters from all of the property owners within 300 feet. Those receipts for the return receipts need to be delivered to the town clerk. All this is spelled out in our memo. You also have to comply with the posting of the sign on your property, and you will note in our rules that you obtain the sign from the town clerk's office. That requires a 21-day posting. I believe the notice to the property owners by certified registered return receipt is a 14-day pre-notice. Plus, we will handle the publication, and that will be done at your cost. So that applies not only to you, it applies to the prior petitioner also. Okay, everybody good? If so, we shall continue moving on. Thank you. Okay, we will move to the next preliminary hearing. Okay, if you'd bear with me while I once again shuffle these very important papers around. My table may not be big enough, but let me tell you, the floor is sure big enough to hold these when I drop them down there when I'm done. Bear with us for a moment. Okay, there's the page I was looking for. Thank you. Okay, we shall move on to the preliminary hearing title E, and that is Daniel and Shannon Wojcik, 2024 Golden Gate Drive, and this is for a developmental standards variance petition requesting a variance from the requirements of sections 154, 130, non-conforming buildings and structures concerning an existing non-conforming structure, and 154, 134, non-conforming residential dwelling alteration permitted concerning volume. Petitioner is seeking to raise the roof of an existing garage with a room over the garage to a height that matches the roof line of the residence, and to replace the existing front porch and canopy. The canopy will be at a steeper pitch with a slightly larger than the existing canopy. The preliminary hearing is set to open tonight, so I will turn to whoever is representing the petitioner, and please fill in whatever you'd like us to know regarding the materials that were submitted.
Yeah, this is Richard Trainer on behalf of Shannon and Daniel Wojcik, 2024 Golden Gate.
And Mr. Trainer, your role is what?
I'm the attorney, sir.
Thank you.
For Shannon and Daniel.
Thank you. No, I was just setting that for the record. Thank you.
Okay.
You can proceed. Thank you.
This is this lot at 2024 Golden Gate is a single non-conforming lot of record. And the petitioners have an existing house with attached garage. And what they want to do is raise the roof line of the garage to match the roof line of the house. The garage has a room over. It means there's a room above the garage right now. And when they raise the roof, that's going to increase the volume of the building. So we're seeking two variances. One, because it's a non-conforming building or structure that's going to be altered. And also, we're altering it in such a way, seeking to improve its suitability and livability, but we're altering it in such a way as that we're increasing the volume of the building by raising the roof over the room over.
Thank you. Anything further at this point?
No, I would just rely on all the material that I've submitted along with the petition that's on file.
Thank you. Okay, so with that, I will turn to the BZA members for any questions or clarification or further documents that they feel are necessary. So I'll turn to the BZA board members.
I was wondering if the room over the garage is attached to the main house. I mean, can you get to the main house from that room?
Yes.
Yeah, I've obviously been over at that house. So there already is some room of some sort above the garage. Is that what you're explaining?
That's correct. There's already a room, and they just want to increase the ceiling height so that a normal adult could stand in the room in all parts of the room.
Okay.
And in so doing, they'd be matching the roof line of the residence of the main building.
Does anybody on the board have any question regarding that aspect of this project, this room over the garage? If not, how about the front porch and canopy? Is there any?
Mike, can I go back? Do we have the numbers, the volume increase of that room?
Well, we have the cubic feet increase.
Sure.
And it's 1,629 cubic feet. But there's really no determination of the total volume of the house.
No. I'm just talking about the room.
You know what yeah, I understand, but there's no way to do a ratio or anything. I'm just saying that the surveyor determined that 1,629 cubic feet would be the increase if they raised the roof line of the room over.
Okay.
And hey, Rich Shursik, that's on, I note that that's on page 2 of the BZA 1 that was filed by the petitioner. Point number 3 in the middle of the page. They cite the 629 cubic feet.
Got it.
Thank you for raising that, Rich. So the 1,629 cubic feet for volume increase, Mr. Trainer, is any of that related to the porch, or is that just all the room over the garage?
That's just the room over the garage. The porch is going to be the same size.
Okay, so there's nothing there. There's no, you're not increasing any of the interior space or anything with that. Okay, I guess.
And then there's also the eaves, but I think that we're okay under the ordinance because we're not increasing the eaves past 24 inches. And I think the ordinance allows you to have eaves at least 24 inches. So.
And the eaves that you're talking about, just for clarity, it's the eaves around the entire house, not just this addition.
That's correct.
So it's the entire house.
That's correct.
Okay. And there, you state in your petition, your BZA 1 at some point here, you state that you affirmatively state that there is no increase in footprint and no increase in lot coverage. It's just,
That's
just
correct.
about, okay.
That's correct.
All right, BZA members, any other questions?
I have a question. And I'm not sure if this is germane to anything, but I'm just trying to understand it. On the northwest property line, it appears that there was a alley or a courtway that was there, and half of it was moved on into the property of this property owner. I'm looking at the survey. On the other side, however, it appears that the property line is not moved. And so I'm curious if this property abuts a public right of way, or if it abuts a neighboring property owner. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me. Doug, I'm looking at the Plata survey. That's what you're looking at, right?
Yes.
How are you determining there is a courtway at the back of that property?
Well, if you look at that northwest to the left, the angled property line, and you look at the corner at the back, you can see several dotted lines, and it appears that there was an areaway that ran there, or an easement.
Oh, I see. I see what you're saying. You're questioning, just for clarity's sake, what that is.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand who's adjacent, and if there are some lurking issues here that we need to make sure that we address. So is the property owner or the controller of the property immediately to the northwest, is that the town of Long Beach, or is it been extended as part of lot number 9?
And also, Doug, looking at this very small printing, if you continue towards the street, from where you're talking in that corner towards the street, it says, I believe it says 15-foot vacated alley.
Correct. No, I don't know that we use the term alley anywhere in the plats, but you know, it's still the same. The surveyor could use that to describe a functional historic record.
Mr. Trainer, do you have anything you want to add to this? Help with this discussion?
Yeah, I would just, according to Exhibit D, which is the list of the plat of all the property, the adjoining properties, it would seem to me that Lot 9 would be owned by small print, but the owner is identified on Exhibit D of Lot 9, William Schumer. So it's not the town of Long Beach.
Okay, thank you.
As far as I can tell.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't really
unless you're
clarify.
referring. Welcome was
just a question.
Well, I think your point is still in order, Doug. I mean, I don't quite understand what Mr. Trainer just said. I'm looking at Exhibit D, and the lot in question is what's numbered 11.
That's correct.
And you can see next to it, this is the point you're making, Doug, there is a void.
Yes.
Okay, and so I understand your point. I guess
I don't know that it makes any difference in this, but I
guess I wouldn't miss out. I'll call on the building commission for any comment, but let Mr. Trainer. Are you saying that this courtway or alley or whatever it is, whether it's vacated or not, or whatever, I guess it doesn't bear on the question before us, which is just the volume increase of the intact structure, right?
That would be my position.
Yeah, Doug, you agree with that?
Yeah, I don't see any way that it makes a difference, but I just, it's one of those things that I'd rather ask the question than not, so.
Well, it's good. It's a good question. Unfortunately, I didn't hear an answer really, but I don't know that we need an answer, but you raised it and I appreciate you doing that. Building Commission, Joe Jogman, do you have anything you need to add to this?
I just have a minor one, and I don't know if you guys received, I'm looking through the documentation. I don't see that you have a picture. Do you guys have a picture that they created for the existing, what the front of the house looks like, and the proposed, what the front of the house looks like?
By picture, you mean a photograph or a mock-up?
Yes.
No, we do not.
Okay. Because the only, and it shouldn't be a big issue, but the only thing that I see on this photograph, sir, is that over the garage doors on the photograph that I have, it looks like they put a small, I don't know what to call it, canopy or roof over those garage doors. Do you have that same photograph, sir?
I'm not introducing that at this time, but yes, I know the photo that you're talking about, and I would indicate that feature would be within the eaves of the building.
But I would think, and again, it's small, but I would think, I'm not talking about the eaves. That's more of a canopy or a roof or whatever you want to call it. And I think that might create, minimal volume, but it does create volume underneath there.
Well, I could, if the board would allow me, I would just add that little feature then, to the extent that there is a feature over the garage roof or, above the garage door, that we would include that as part of the alteration that we're seeking.
Well,
I don't see how it increases. Pardon?
I interject at this point is the board does not have the photograph that Joe Jogman was referring to. So we're not able to comment on what you're discussing. If Mr. Trainer,
okay,
if we were to move forward with a public hearing, if you feel that your number of 1,629 cubic feet is not correct because of this issue that's brought up, I guess I would be, speaking for myself, would be willing still to move forward and allow you to file an amended letter giving us the correct volume increase and why it's changed. But I'll leave that to you. Right now, all we have is this 1629. So if we move forward as is, that's what we will be moving forward based on. Is that, you understand me?
I understand, and so you're giving me leave if we choose to amend the petition with the correct volume, if we decide to include this feature over the garage that Mr. Jogman brought up.
Chris Willoughby, does that sound agreeable to you?
It does. Yeah, I have other questions, but they're probably not appropriate for this. Yes, I think it sounds reasonable what you've proposed.
Okay, you can hold your other questions. I think there are other questions if it were to be appropriate, and it's not, and that's the subject that Doug brought up, which I think is quite interesting. But again, that's not before us right now. So with that, do we have any other questions, comments by the BZA board members? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion either to set this petition for a public hearing, or if someone feels there's a need to continue it, we can entertain that motion. So I will ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion to set this for a public hearing.
Motion by Mr. Jurczyk, second by... Anybody
I'll
care?
second it.
Second by Barbara Morgan. Thank you, Barbara. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of setting this for public hearing? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I think we got them all that time. That's the one thing with these Zoom meetings. It's hard to make sure you got these voice votes. So this matter will be set for a public hearing May 11, 2021. Mr. Trainer, if you choose to change your volume number, the filing deadline is April 27th. So get whatever you need filed so we can consider it with a poignant explanation for us. Otherwise, you are aware of all the requirements regarding registered letters and sign postings and so forth and so on. So with that, I thank you, and that matter is now closed. Okay. Okay, we shall move on to our next and last item, which is a public hearing. Okay. Okay, if everybody is all set, we shall move on to the public hearing, and this is for William and Amanda Kenefick, 2318 Hazeltine Drive. This is a developmental standards variance petition requesting a variance from the requirements of sections 154.057. This is the schedule of district regulations concerning footprint. 154.134, non-conforming residential dwelling alteration permitted concerning volume, and 154.130, non-conforming building and structures concerning lot coverage, and that's per the petitioner's petition. Petitioner is seeking to build a covered open deck to the front of the residence and a new walkway that would connect the deck to the already existing driveway. The preliminary hearing opened at the regularly scheduled February 9, 2021 BZA meeting and was continued to the meeting on March 9, 2021. Public hearing is set to open at tonight's meeting. So I shall proceed with the public hearing. The public hearing is judicial in nature, and as such, it is conducted in a formal manner. First, I will turn to our secretary, Meg Collins, and ask if the requirements for opening the public hearing have been met.
Yes, all requirements have been met.
Okay, thank you. And that, in essence, are the requirements for the fee being paid, the notices and registered receipts for the letters to property owners, and the sign being posted. So thank you, Meg. Okay, second in the public hearing is I will turn to the petitioner and allow the petitioner for the record to state his case. So whoever's speaking on behalf of the petitioner, please step forward.
Hi, everyone. I'm Bill Kenefick, and this is Amanda Kenefick from 2318 Hazeltine. I just wanted to thank the BZA and the town of Long Beach for having us tonight. We're really happy to discuss our project. We're really excited about it. We think it's going to improve the usability and add modernization to our property. We have spoken to our immediate neighbors to share details directly. And we're really looking forward to living in Long Beach, especially as the spring and summer come upon us. I'm just going to do a quick recap of our project for the record, and I'm happy to answer any questions. The project would be requesting permission to add an open deck to the front of our residence and a walkway that will connect to the new deck to the already existing driveway. The front door currently sits in an open porch area facing Hazeltine Drive. And we want to convert this area to the interior of the residence. And this would also include pushing the new front door to be flush with the front of the house, and connecting to our new front porch. The front porch will be covered, and there will be a new gable roof extending from the current roof of the residence over our porch. The total surface area of the new porch will be 8 by 28, and the gable over the front door at its height peak would be 13 and a half feet from the grade of the ground. There'll be 2 steps extending from the deck towards Hazeltine Drive and our new walkway. And to do this would require a request of 3 variances. The first is to increase the volume of our residence by enclosing that front area and also adding our front porch. The second variance would be to increase the footprint and total coverage of our property. And the third variance would be related to non-conforming buildings and structures to increase the lot coverage. Thank you very much. Happy to answer questions if there are any.
Okay. Thank you, William. We shall now move on to the next stage of the public hearing, and if we care to come back to you later, we will. So thank you. Don't go away. Now it's time for public comment. So I will call on any members of the audience who care to speak in favor of this petition to please speak up.
Hi, it's Anita Remages, 2300 Florimond.
Thank you.
I am a neighbor, and I did talk to Mr. Kenefick. I have 3 comments. One is there's a reason why Long Beach has a building commission, which I believe rejected this application. There's a reason why we have a BZA. There's a reason why we have ordinances for review and compliance with these ordinances. 2, my other comment is that there have been 2 prior owners who have moved from this home because the home became too small for them. The Myers had 3 children and they moved down the street. The Millers were going to be having grandchildren and they moved. The house is what it is. It's my understanding that it's a non-conforming lot that was grandfathered in. I guess my comment is that this is additional non-conforming to increase the volume, to increase the footprint, to increase the lot coverage. I appreciate that the Keneficks look forward to moving to Long Beach. I appreciate that they would be good neighbors. I appreciate that Mr. Kenefick reached out to me. But there is, again, a reason why we have a building commission, why we have ordinances, and why we have a BZA. And that being said, my comments clearly are just my comments. And I look to the BZA to do the right thing that has to do with our town's ordinances and compliance with those ordinances. Thank you.
For the sake of the record, let me clarify, Ms. Remages, I had called for people to speak in favor of the petition. Are you speaking in favor of it?
I am not speaking in favor of it.
That's I just wanted to clarify. So it's fine that you spoke out of order, but we'll take your comment.
I apologize.
In opposition, that's fine. Just wanted to make, for the record, I wanted to make that clear.
Thank you.
Anybody else in the audience that wants to speak in favor of the petition? Okay, hearing none, I'll turn to our secretary, Meg Collins. Meg, I understand we've received some letters in favor of the petition.
Yes, we have.
If you would please proceed.
Sure. There were 5 letters, and I'm going to read through them. I'll try and be quick. The first one, it's from Edward Rehnquist of 2208 Florimond. My name is Edward Rehnquist, and my wife, Nancy Rehnquist, and I live at 2208 Florimond Ave. I'm writing the letter for Bill Kenefick and his wife. We have no problem with what Bill wants to do to the front of his new home on Hazeltine. In fact, I think it will add a lot to the look of the home. We have known Bill's mom and dad for some 50 years, and Bill since he was a young boy. Very nice family. As a retired builder for some 40 years, I think Bill's plans fit in with other homes on Hazeltine. Sincerely, Ed Rehnquist. The second letter is from Tommy King of 2301 Florimond. Hello, as a neighbor of William and Amanda Kennefic, I have no opposition to their request for variances from section 154.057 and 154.134 as articulated in their certified letter dated March 24th, 2021, and welcome them as new neighbors. Please do not hesitate to contact me with any questions or concerns. Thanks and regards, Thomas King. Next letter is from Ryan Neary of 2320 Hazeltine Drive. Hello, I live at 2320 Hazeltine and don't object or have any issues with the proposed work to be done at 2318 Hazeltine that will be addressed in the hearing on 4/13. Please let me know if you have any questions or if you need additional information. Next is Lisa Wallace of 2211 Florimond. Please know I am in complete support of their new porch. Thank you, Lisa Wallace. Last letter is from Kevin Coleman of 2308 Larchmont. Dear BZA board members, my name is Kevin Coleman, and I live at 2308 Larchmont in Long Beach. I'm writing to you today in strong support of Billy and Amanda Kennefic's petition for a variation to build a front porch for their home at 2312 Florimond. I've personally known Billy and Amanda for decades, from our time growing up on the beaches of Long Beach. My family and I are thrilled that Billy and Amanda have purchased a home just down the street from ours and plan to spend their summers with their children here in Long Beach. The plans they have for their house will undoubtedly add to the beauty of our neighborhood, give the house and surrounding area a fresh look while maintaining a classic Long Beach cottage design. I give them my full support to make the requested improvements. Sincerely, Kevin Coleman. Those were the 5 letters in support.
Thank you, Meg. All right. I will now turn to anyone who cares to speak in opposition to the petition. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak in opposition to the petition? Hearing none, I will ask Meg Collins if any letters were received in opposition.
No letters were received in opposition.
Thank you. The way you conduct a public hearing is that if someone speaks in opposition, the petitioner has an opportunity for a rebuttal statement. So, Mr. and Ms. Kennefic, I'm going to give you a chance if you want to say something. You don't have to hear it, but I'm not sure if Ms. Remage's letter comments were in opposition or just a point of view of hers. So I will let the Kennefics, if you care to say anything else. No? Okay. All right. We shall move on.
Excuse me, Mr. Gorman, do you want me to clarify? I will say that they were in opposition and they were a comment, but yes, opposition.
Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. Moving on. I now declare the public comment portion of this meeting to be closed. I will turn to the building commission representative, Mr. Jogman. Is there anything you feel we need to hear at this point?
No, sir. Thank you.
Okay, I will now turn to the BZA members for a discussion of what's before us. At the conclusion of the BZA's discussion, I will then call for a vote. And the vote would either be to approve the petition for the variances, to reject the petition for the variances, or to continue the public hearing to the next meeting if the BZA feels that they're not in a position to make a decision. So that's where we'll end up. But at this point, I'll open this up to the BZA members for discussion among us. If one of you or more need to ask a question of the Kennefics, you can go ahead. I would just, let's not get into a whole discussion of what's going on, as we've had 2 preliminary hearings already before this, but go right ahead. So I'll open this up to the BZA.
I have a couple points of clarification. We're glad you're back, Amanda and Bill. It's good to see you. You're not eliminating any parking spaces in your driveway, are you?
No.
Okay. And can you give specifics for the increase in footprint, give an actual percentage and an actual increase in the volume and the lot coverage increase?
Yes, the lot coverage increase will go from 37% to 39%.
All right.
And the increase in volume, this is including like the open air deck, like inclusive of, as if it was like a square block, if you can imagine that. We know it's open, so it's going to be inside, outside design, but the total volume would be 2686 cubic feet. And again, and that's with the gable height, 13.5 feet from the ground.
And then the increase in the footprint?
Oh, and also with the volume too, the 578 cubic feet from the enclosure, moving the front door up to enclose that corner section of our house.
So what's the total?
The total will be 2686.
Okay.
Got it. And sorry, what was the next question?
And then the increase in your footprint?
The footprint, the total service area will be 3,328 square feet of the 8,400. So it's 100 square feet of the new walkway, and then 224 square feet of the new covered deck.
Okay, and you said 3,328.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so that was good, Meg, thank you. So that clarifies the numbers that are necessary for the variances that are being requested.
Mike?
Yes, please, go ahead, Doug.
That number makes me ask a question, and that 3,000 and some, is that the entire square footage of the house or the new square footage?
That's the total square footage of the house
Plus the new.
plus the driveway, the walkway, the back patio, and the new addition. The full.
The new coverage was 324. Is that correct?
Exactly, 324 is the new square foot coverage.
So the 324 represents what, Mr. Kennefic?
Represents our front porch and the walkway.
So the footprint, increasing
your... Isn't 324 the number that he needs for his variance?
Yeah, that's in 154057.
Yes. So the 3,328, that's the whole house. We're not interested in that footprint.
Right.
Meg Keener asked.
Oh, okay, I got you. All right. So the footprint increase that you're asking for on your work is 324 square feet.
Exactly.
Doug, is that understandable?
Yes, that's what I understood also. Thank you.
Okay, so we have those 3 numbers which were necessary.
Now, wait a minute. The volume, give me the volume that you're increasing, separate from the total volume.
The new volume of the total of the deck will be 2,686 cubic feet, and then the increased volume of the home will be 578 cubic feet. Okay. So adding those together would be 3,100.
Right.
Which the number I think that Bill is asking us to approve here is 2,686. Meg, is that right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
BZA members, everybody in accord with those three numbers, the lot coverage increase, the volume increase, and the footprint increase? We all understand the numbers? At this point, maybe it's probably a good time to just ask if, no, let's not, I won't go in that direction. Any other discussion? A discussion among ourselves. Can I hear from anybody just with their thoughts and so forth on this project and their deliberation going into whether to approve or deny? I guess I can speak up for a bit here. I note the setbacks are not involved here. So nothing encroaches any further on any other properties, and the front setback per the code is maintained. So those are not issues, and that's something I look to when we look at these kinds of matters. I guess secondly, I will phrase my comment. Before I do that, let me turn to Chris Wilby. Chris, do you have anything to add to where we're at this point?
No.
Okay. Then let me phrase my other comment in a reaction or just in response to a certain degree to Ms. Remage's comments. And one point she made, and I appreciated her comments, one point she made is, there's a reason we have a BZA, there's a reason we have a building commission, reason we have these ordinances. And you said there's reasons, and you look to the BZA to do what it's supposed to do. And I appreciate that. And I hope we all understand the sometimes gargantuan task that might be for the BZA, which in the case of this, we have a non-conforming property. It's non-conforming because the code says it is. And the code says you cannot do anything, in essence, to the exterior of this property as far as volume, footprint, lot coverage, unless you get a variance. And that's what the code says. So one can, and the charge of the Board of Zoning Appeals is to enforce the zoning code. That's also what the Building Commission does, but it ultimately comes to the Board of Zoning Appeals. However, the Board of Zoning Appeals has something in their charge that the Building Commission does not, and that's called discretion. We are mandated to have discretion to consider other factors in our experience, in our knowledge, and based on our study and research, other factors that may bear on a particular piece of property. And mind you, no two properties are the same. I don't care if the house next door was putting on this same porch and everything was the same. It would not, each property is unique and it's analyzed uniquely. So the point I hope I'm not belaboring it too much here, but the point I'm making is the code says you can't do this. And if that was the end of the story, then there would be no point for a BZA. The reason for the BZA is to foster improvements in the community consistent with the spirit of the zoning code. So that's the way I look at this. That's my charge. So I need to look at this property that is clearly looking for this variance, and I need to make an assessment as to whether I feel the most important test is met here, and that's the third test, is whether the strict enforcement of zoning code would prevent practical difficulties in the use of this property. And so that's the basis from which I am looking at this. I'm looking at what the structure is, what it's going to be used for, what the petitioners have said. I've listened to the residents or public who have commented for and against this, and I have been studying this for 3 months because we've had three. This is the third hearing on this piece of property. So this has been in front of us for a long time, and it takes a lot of time and effort. So the decision is not made lightly, and this decision that would be made today, whatever it is, would not bear upon the decision that would be made on the person's property on the next block or on way down the road in Long Beach. So sorry for the rumination, but I'm trying to, in a long way, answer or not answer, but just address the comment that was made in opposition. So I will conclude. I don't have anything else that I have other than it's always a difficult decision. So anybody else on the BZA want to share their view or ask any other questions of any one of us? No? Okay, hearing nothing, I will entertain a motion if someone would like to make a motion either to approve the variances, deny the variances, or say, hey, I need more time to think about this. I want to continue this. So I will entertain a motion. And before we state it for sake of record for the public, we're required under law to not merely say, I approve or I deny. That would be an easy way out. We can't do that. We have to say why. And there are 3 state standards that have to be met. Does it harm the general welfare of the community? Does it harm the adjoining properties? And does the strict enforcement of the code present practical difficulties in the use of the property? So we have to answer those 3 questions in public when we make a motion to approve or deny. So I'm just trying, sorry if I'm, once again, we prefer that people understand what our role is here. So I'll entertain a motion to approve, deny, or continue this petition.
I make a motion to approve these 3 variances. And do I wait for a second before I read my findings and decisions?
Sometimes I get confused on that sometimes. Chris, what is the answer to that?
She could make a motion to approve because if it's seconded, there has to be a basis. So it would be appropriate to introduce those.
Okay. The petitioners request development standard variances from the requirements of section 154.057 lot coverage, 154.130 non-conforming buildings and structures, and 154.134 increase in volume and footprint, authorizing them to add an open air covered porch that will also increase interior living space as well as walkway located at the front of their home connecting to an existing driveway. The contemplated project involves an increase in permissible lot coverage of 39%, as well as the alteration and improvement of a non-conforming residential building or other accessory non-conforming structure, resulting in increases in the footprint by 324 square feet and a volume increase of 578 square feet.
Well,
cubic feet, not total, because
let me interrupt. I think that's the wrong number.
The total is 2686. It's not asking for that.
Sorry.
Resulting in an increase.
All right, I'm sorry for interrupting. I should have.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm sorry.
So go back if you would just repeat, please.
Yes, I sure will. Contemplated project involves an increase in permissible lot coverage of 39%, as well as the alteration and improvement of a non-conforming residential building or other accessory non-conforming structure, resulting in increases in the footprint by 324 square feet and a volume increase of 578 cubic feet. Agreed?
I thought we said the volume was 2,686 cubic feet.
They're not increasing it by 2,686, and the word increases.
And then I was confused. So
Okay.
So
No, that's fine. I'd rather.
The volume increase is what, if you would just repeat it again?
Sure, 578 cubic feet. All of which is.
Kennefics, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, sorry for the interruption. Go ahead, Meg.
No problem. All of which is generally impermissible under the sections 154.057 and 154.134 of the town's, zoning code. The Long Beach Advisory Board of Zoning Appeals, after giving due consideration to the petitioner's petition for standard development variance, supporting documents, testimony, and evidence presented during the public hearing on the subject petition, other materials presented to the BZA that are part of the public record, and the legal requirements set forth under the Indiana and Long Beach codes, the BZA now makes the following findings. Number one, the approval of the requested developmental standard variances from the town's general requirements for lot coverage in a residential zoning district and restriction against permitting the alteration of petitioner's nonconforming residential building or other accessory nonconforming structure that improves livability or usability, but also increases the size of the first floor area or volume of the building, will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare, because the contemplated project will be constructed in a manner similar to other projects and improvements that exist or that have otherwise been allowed in and around the immediate vicinity of the subject property, and all construction will be in compliance with applicable provisions of the town's building code. 2, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property subject to the requested developmental standard variances will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner because the project involves updating and improving the property while maintaining its general compatibility with the character of the immediate neighborhood. 3, the strict application of the Long Beach zoning code will result in practical difficulties in the use of the subject property for which the developmental standard variances are sought, because the contemplated project, like many throughout the community, involves the alteration or improvement of a non-conforming residential building or other accessory non-conforming structure on a non-conforming lot. As a result of the nonconformances, the petitioners would not otherwise be able to make the contemplated improvements or use and enjoy their property in the same manner as other property owners that are similarly situated without receiving approval for the requested developmental standard variances. 4, all relief granted by the BZA for the subject petition should be only under sections 154.057, 154.134, and the zoning code is section 154.130 is not applicable to the relief sought, and no other relief from any other sections is properly before the BZA for consideration. Based on the foregoing findings, as well as due regard for the requirements of both state and local laws, it is the decision of the BZA to approve and grant the requested standard development, add an open air covered porch that will also increase interior living space, as well as a walkway located at the front of their home and connecting to an existing driveway. The contemplated project involves an increase in permissible lot coverage to 39%, as well as alteration and improvement of the nonconforming residential building or other accessory nonconforming structure, resulting in increases in the footprint, by 324 square feet and volume by 578 cubic feet. all of which is generally impermissible under the section 154.057 and 154.134 of the town's zoning code, subject to the following determinations and conditions. The standard development variance is granted as a relief only from sections 154.057 and 154.134 of the zoning code as relief under section 154.130 is deemed necessary. No part of these findings and decisions shall be deemed to include any consideration or determination regarding any other section of the zoning code, as no such relief was requested or otherwise properly before the BZA for consideration as part of the subject petition, except as otherwise addressed above. And petitioners must obtain all required and applicable permits, including but not limited to a building permit prior to the commencement of any work, all of which should be based on and subject to the drawings and plans submitted to the BZA for consideration under the petition.
Thank you, Ms. Canier. Do I hear a second to Ms. Canier's motion to approve and the findings and decisions?
I'll second the motion.
And is that Rich Jurczyk?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, okay, thank you. So we have a motion by Meg Canier, a second by Rich Jurczyk. Meg read her findings and decisions, which, as I stated previously, is the board's charge under law to provide our reasons for approval in this case, or Meg's reasons and approval in this case, and the clear statement that the relief, if it were to be granted, is limited to the sections that she delineated and no other section, and that if the grant variance were to be granted, it's subject to obtaining all the necessary approvals, including a building permit before any work is to begin. So with that, I will ask for any discussion of the motion and second that's on the table. Okay, hearing none, I will turn to our secretary, Meg Collins, and ask her to please call a voice vote of the members on this petition to approve.
Rich Jurczyk,
I approve the motion.
Meg Canier,
Approve.
Barb Morgan,
I approve the motion.
Doug Wickstrom,
I approve the motion.
Mike Gorman.
I approve the motion. So the motion has passed on a 5-0 vote. I, on behalf of the board, wish the Kenneficks goodwill in proceeding with this project under the terms of this approval. Our secretary will obtain the signatures of the board members with as the week goes on, and when she does that, at that point, she will provide the Kenneficks with a copy of the signed approval for their records. I think that would conclude the public hearing. So with that.
Michael?
Yes.
I would hope you suggest to the Kenneficks that they have to come back to the building commission.
I've already done that, Joe.
I'm sorry, I missed it then, Mike. I apologize.
That is quite all right. I am a big one of making sure, because there have been some people who have thought, hey, I got approval for a variance. I'm going to get my contractor out there at 8 a.m. No, sir, you must get building permit approval first. And I trust the Kenneficks understand that clearly. So thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Hearing nothing further, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
By Meg Canier, a second. All right, I'll second that motion. I'd like to adjourn. I think we had a nice meeting, a long meeting. It's 8:26 p.m. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you, those in the audience, and of course, BZA members and Joe Jogman and our attorney, Chris Welby. Thank you also. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye. Goodbye, everybody.